Hello. We got here three albums that I own, that I bought all these secondhand. Um, these two here would have been about $1 each. This one maybe $2. I can't imagine I paid more than $2 for that. Anyway, regardless, they are all no doubt or no doubt adjacent. So this is their biggest album, Tragic Kingdom. You can see this was bought new. Whoever bought it back new when it first came out, which would have been what, 95? Yes, 1995, came out on Interscope. And the person who bought it got it on sale. Say that with inverted commas. I've talked about this before, that the full price that you would pay for a CD back in the mid 90s in New Zealand was $34.95, which in American money, it's usually about half. So 16 or $17, I guess, American, US, and pounds roughly the same again, maybe about between 15 and 20 pounds. No, sorry, between 15 and 10 pounds. But of course, with inflation, that would be a lot more nowadays. Um, fuck, that's expensive. This is bought at Sounds. So Sounds was probably the biggest music chain store in New Zealand in the 90s. There'd been a few that had come and gone before that, and a few that were around at the same time as this. And this was a time, 1995 was a time in the culture where there would be at least one CD, I guess music shop in every mall, if not more than one, sometimes two or three. And then, like, for example, on Queen Street, which is the main shopping street, or it was the main central downtown street of Auckland, if you walk from end to end of that in 1995, there would be 10, 10 music stores, CD stores. Now there's two, and they're kind of off. They're both actually. There's one new sells new stuff, and the other one's a secondhand place. Anyway, uh, you can probably, if you're around at this time, you can probably remember that this album was huge. It seemed to be huge for me as a teenager at that time. I wouldn't say I was a No Doubt fan at that time. I wouldn't say I'm a No Doubt fan now, to be honest. But I think they're okay, and they've got some good songs. Also, some songs I don't like. No Doubt, I guess, are a kind of a pop ska band, new wave. They yeah, kind of a new wave sound on a lot of their songs as well. But yeah, pop rock, ska, new wave-ish band that kind of melded all those together in a pretty nice package that brought them a lot of popularity and success around that time. And I guess having the front woman, as you can see there, Gwen Stefani, not that I ever found her to be particularly attractive, but she something about a band that has a female front person. Did I just call her a front man before? A front woman, a front person, lead vocalist that has some charisma and is at least somewhat attractive, goes a long way to help a band, I think. Well, at least it did in their case. Because it seemed like a lot of the attention was focused on her, which is to be expected. Um, there they are. Um, so yeah, this song, the majority of the popularity, I think, was off the back of the song "Don't Speak." But there were singles before that as well. I remember "I'm Just a Girl." Is that on this album? Maybe that's from another album. Oh yeah, sorry, "Just a Girl." There it is. Spiderwebs. "Excuse Me, Mister." Geez, they had a lot of singles off this, didn't you? I think "Sunday Morning" was also a single, but certainly "Don't Speak." "Don't Speak" was kind of a I don't know, what would you even call that? a yeah, I don't know. I don't, I don't know how you would define that within a genre. A pop song with Gwen Stefani's vocal very front and center, um, but kind of got a nice acoustic guitar backing track with it as well, instrumental to go along with it. Okay, here are the list. It's 7 singles. Just a Girl, Spider Webs, Don't Speak. So that was the third single. Excuse Me, Mister, Sunday Morning, Happy Now, and Hey You. And they were releasing those singles from its release in 19 September 95, two singles in 96, two singles in 97, and one in February 98. Jeez, they rang every last drop out of that one, didn't they? The record company. Um, I would imagine. Before I even look, I'll look in a second. But I guess that this album probably sold close to 10 million copies worldwide. Let me check. Okay, well over that. 10 million in the US. So between 15 to 20 million worldwide. I didn't, yeah. Like I knew that. Obviously, like I just said, I guessed that. But at the same time, it's kind of like you don't think of No Doubt as this kind of huge band, but that is huge sales. Number one in most markets. Um, so yeah, it was. It seemed it just there was a period there, 96, 97, where it seemed it was everywhere. They were everywhere. Their music was everywhere. Um, okay, they class here the single "Don't Speak" the genre as alternative rock. Don't know if I agree with that. There are other songs like "Spider's Webs," had more of a ska influence. "Just a Girl" again, it's kind of got almost like kind of a punky edge to it. Um, I think "Excuse Me, Mister" definitely's got a ska, much more ska in it. So they originally started as a purely ska band. Like I think they had like a horn section as part of the band, and then they kind of evolved more into the pop rock sound as time progressed. Um, so their albums after this, um, I think was it the Return of Saturn or something like that. Return of I was right, Return of Saturn, and Rocksteady. They didn't do as well, but you know, would they ever? Would anyone following up a 15, 20 million worldwide seller with anything is always going to be of a struggle. Okay, so the Return of Saturn did 1.5 million in the US, so I'd guess probably about double that around the world, 3 or 4 million. And then Rocksteady, I would guess, by that's 2001. We're kind of starting to see the decline of the record industry there, at least with CD sales, because that by that time Napster was kind of um, up and running and pretty well entrenched. Certifications. Okay, did a bit better actually. Rocksteady did almost 3 million in the US, so maybe about 5 million worldwide. So still selling, pretty well. Like I said, you don't really think of them. Well, at least I don't really think of them in my mind as this huge band. But then when you actually do think and check, you think actually shit, they were. The other thing I have of theirs is um, a singles collection, 92 to 2003. The main reason I got this is because this has their cover version of "It's My Life," the Talk Talk song, which I've always liked their version of that. Because most of the other songs on here are either from Tragic Kingdom, from their earlier work, which I don't really like this more ska stuff. Then they have like Hella Good, I think that's from Rocksteady. Um, Hey Baby, I think that's from Rocksteady as well. I can't stand that song. But yeah, like I said, the main when I saw this, I thought, oh, I don't need to get that. I've already got Tragic Kingdom, and I'm not really a fan of No Doubt beyond that kind of a nostalgic shit that's munched up, isn't it? But then I thought, I do like that song, that cover they do of "It's My Life." Um, What it says here, no doubt over the years has performed countless cover songs, beginning with Madness, The Specials, and Selected. So, that kind of two-tone ska bands. I really can't stand ska music. I think I've talked about in my earlier videos about my feelings about reggae. It's just music. Well, they also did In Excess. Don't Change. I like that In Excess song. And Depeche Mode. Be interesting. Yeah, I've talked before about how I really dislike reggae, and yeah, I'm not a particularly big fan of ska either. Yeah, it's stronger than that. I don't like ska music. I don't know the horn. I don't like horns integrated in. I don't know. I like some horns. I guess it's just in certain kinds of music. I just don't like. It's so for me, ska and reggae just sounds. I know this sounds like what everyone says about music they don't like. It all sounds the same, but it really does all sound the same to me. You know, um, Jesus, this is a tough time getting this thing back in here. Jeez, I shouldn't have taken it out. You can see why it's all munched. The person before me tried to get it in and out a few times as well. Yeah, that'll do. And the last thing I own of theirs, or at least related, is Gwen Stefani's first solo album. So no doubt are actually not together at this time. I'm a bit surprised. I thought they would still be going, just maybe as a touring act or something. Kind of playing festival shows now and then. Like many of those kinds of era bands do. Not necessarily recording new music, but it says they were 86 to 2004, and then they had a break, and then 2008 to 2015, and for the last 8 years they have not been a band. Quite surprised by that. I know that the first break they had in 2004 to 2008 was when she recorded this and released this first album. Maybe also the second one, I'm not sure. And maybe she's just still doing solo stuff now. I don't actually really keep up with it. But I remember this because I think the first time I came across this was the video for What You Waiting For? What You Waiting For? Which at that time, when it came out, when was this? 2004, yeah. When this came out in 2004, I absolutely was not into pop music of any kind. I was in 2004, I was really into my metal phase, like extreme metal, like death metal and black metal and doom metal and whatever other metal I get my hands on. So I wasn't into pop music at all. But I could, even at that time, if I heard a song that I liked, I could still admit I liked it. I wasn't the kind of person who would say, "Oh no, it's shit." Another pop song I remember at that time was that Justin Timberlake song, "Rock Your Body." Was it that one, or maybe there was another one as well? Maybe it was a Pharrell Williams song. Anyway, my point is that first time I heard that song, I saw the video and I heard the song. I was kind of like blown away by it. I was like, "This is awesome." And even to this day, when I hear that song, there's something about it. It's like, I think it's got a really great, like a few really great hooks, like the way they do the TikTok, they're using the clock, and the lyrics. She's kind of talking about herself getting older and having the pressure of wanting to do a solo album and everyone expecting it. And yeah. And then the video itself is kind of a crazy, I think it's based on like Alice in Wonderland, or at least part of it is, with other bits and pieces. It's kind of like a wacky video. But yeah, I think it's an awesome song. It's a brilliant pop song. Beyond that, it wasn't anything really that amazing on this. Like a Rich Girl, which she did with Eve, was the other single. And also Holla Back Girl. That song's okay. Kind of a catchy, like you can imagine it being played in a club, get everyone kind of fucking hyped up. Cool. That was also a single. She wrote that about her and that guy Tony. Forgive my pronunciation. Canal, I think they were a couple for a long time in the band. I think right up to until during or just before Tragic Kingdom. Tragic Kingdom. And he broke up with her, and she was kind of brokenhearted for a while. And then that song "Cool" is kind of about how now they're both moved on, and she's married and he's married, and they've got their own families, and now they're kind of just friends, and how she feel that's cool. Like she's glad they can still have a relationship as friends and band members, even though they have kind of maybe a tumultuous past of romantic involvement. Um, yeah, after that, there's some other kind of I've listened through this album beyond those first ones a few times, and there are a few things that kind of pop out and you think it's cool, but I haven't really listened back to it that much. You can see here she had some production with was it Neely Hooper? You see her name a lot. Is it Nelly Hooper? Neely Hooper also produced some of the No Doubt stuff. I also see Dr. Dre produced Rich Girl. The Neptunes did Hollaback Girl. And speaking of the man, Tony Kanal, the bassist from No Doubt, he produced a few of the songs on here as well. Andre 3000 did Long Way to Go. So she worked with a lot of big names on her first solo album. It also put out on Interscope, which obviously was No Doubt's record company. So that you see that a lot of times when artists go solo, they kind of stick with the same record company, or maybe in their contract they have to. If it says that if you're going to release a a solo album, you have to do it with us. You can't go with a competitor if you're still under contract. She also used a lot of imagery of Japanese fashion and Harajuku girls. If you've been to Tokyo, you'll know Harajuku is kind of the center of fashion in that city, or at least I don't know, maybe not the center of fashion, the center of kind of cutting edge alternative fashion. And she was kind of taken with that, and so she had this. Um, it's hard to describe. These four Japanese girls. I don't even know if they were Japanese, but four Asian girls who were with her in videos and during the promotion of this album. And now, 20 years or 19 years later, she's been accused of cultural appropriation because she talked about a lot of Japanese things. And like I said, one of the songs on here is called Harajuku Girls, and she talked about Harajuku Girls and mentioned Japan a lot. Use the imagery, and so a lot of people now think she shouldn't have done that. She came out and said, "Well, why? I love Japan and Japanese culture so much. I was just showing my appreciation," which is, that whole issue is, I don't know, sometimes so ridiculous. Um. Anyway, just something a bit different there. No Doubt, Gwen Stefani. Um, it, Incidentally, we were talking about last week. Well, I was talking about Bush. Was it the week last week or the week before last? She was married to Gavin Rossdale from Bush for quite a while, but they are now divorced. He cheated on her with the nanny, apparently. Which what you gonna do? Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching.